Excuse me.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. We're live here for our Labour Day event webinar. And we have with us Mr. Benjamin Acton from Clean Ethics FM, who is a contract manager, and we also have Mr. Bruno, who is from Hotway, based in Nottingham. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan.
Thank you so much. Once
Thank you for
again,
having
please
us.
excuse the noise. Like I'm at the workplace event at the moment, so it's a bit busy, but I was able to join in, and I'm happy to be here. So thank you.
Lovely. Fadumo, thank you for joining us. Could you just tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm Fadumo. I run a commercial cleaning company here in Nottingham. We've been established since late 2020. So right in the middle of the first lockdown. We started off with domestic cleaning. However, for me, there was too many challenges on that side of the business. Logistic challenges. It requires most cleaners to drive. And then I decided to explore the commercial side of things, specifically regular office cleaning, warehouse cleaning, industrial cleaning. And that's really good. I mean, the best part of it is just providing job opportunities for people and all of that, and just seeing people develop their skills. And so we're just very comfortable at that space. I'm trying to expand a bit more, but I'm not sure. Sometimes I think, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So we've managed to establish ourselves in that field, which I very much enjoy. Yeah.
Wow, that's really, really good. That sounds interesting. You started in the middle of lockdown. Describe what that was like for you.
Sorry, say that again, please.
Started in the middle of lockdown. So could you just briefly describe what that was like?
Yeah, lockdown was, I mean, at the time, I'm not sure how the commercial side of things was, but in terms of student accommodation, end of tenancy cleaning, and domestic cleaning, that was quite in demand, to be honest with you. That was going pretty well. Most people were just at home, so working from home, that I think there was a lot of demand for that, but it just wasn't really for us. Yeah.
Wow, that's very good. That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Benjamin, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes, thank you, Rosanna. Basically, I'm a contract manager here at Clean Ethics UK. We're into facility management, commercial cleaning, security, catering, different sectors basically. And my main role is to liaise with customers, clients, as well as work with the staff as well to ensure that standards are being met. We're meeting KPIs just to ensure that the goals that are expected from our clients are being met in terms of the standards that we promised and that we want to deliver to them as well. Going around the country, doing different site visits, trying to branch through to get new clients, new contracts to manage as well. So it's very rewarding as well just to be in this role that I am.
Wow, that sounds really, really good. And how long have you been at Clean Ethics? And you seem to be traveling a lot. How do you navigate that? Because working alongside, I still some days in one day you'll be at both ends of the UK, and I'm like, how did you do it? So if you could just tell us how you navigate all of that.
Yeah, so I've been here for about a year and a few months now in Clean Ethics, and it's really busy, going from place to place. I believe there was 1 week that I was in North Wales, and then the next day I was in Newcastle, then the next day I was in London, the next day I was back in Nottingham. So going around and doing it takes a lot of organization. You have to be organized. you have to put yourself together. You have to be able to plan very well to be able to uh, go around and venture and do all these kind of things. But then again, it's very rewarding going around the country, meeting new people, meeting new clients, see how different businesses, different organizations work. It's really, really nice. So, me personally, I enjoy it, and then it's something that really doesn't phase me, to be honest. And it gets me, it keeps me fit. You get your steps in. It helps you not have to go to the gym, basically, if you know what I'm saying. So, but it's really rewarding.
2 in 1.
2 in 1, isn't it? Well, today's topic is about building a culture of respect in labor-intensive industries. For us as Clean Ethics, our labor force are at the very heart of what we do. And it's just one of those things that we thought it'd be best to discuss what respect means in this sector of the business. So Duma, yourself coming from running a 5-year business, starting in COVID, which is amazing. I can only imagine what this means for your workforce. So it'd be good as well, even for you, Ben, who you relate with so many different staff. Okay, it'd be good to see your perspective in what respect means in labor-intensive industries. So, over to both of you. What does respect generally mean in labor? I'll start with Fadima.
Respect. Well, it's such a big word, isn't it? Respect. I think for me, the first thing I think about is how I interact with my staff, or specifically those on the ground doing the work. I always look at them as the experts. So whenever I feel like I need to implement a change or a new way of working, I always approach them, because, to be fair, they know that site much better than I will ever. So I always ask them, what do you think? I'm thinking about, I have this idea. What do you think about it? How would it affect your day-to-day work? That's first. Open communication, of course, building trust and transparency between you and your staff. And I always say, as leaders, we try to build that trust and transparency with clients. We always hear, oh, clients need transparency and trust, but do we actually do the same with our staff? Do they feel that they can approach us with anything? If they feel like something's not working out, can they give you a call and say, hey, listen, I've only got 2 hours on this site. However, I feel like I'm rushing. I'm not doing a good job. It's not fair on me. Or I need more training. Maybe I need the cleaning scope to be more realistic, because a lot of them are not realistic, right? So anything, they should be able to approach you. To me, that's respect. And also how you give feedback to your staff. Feedback, there will always be feedback. You can never avoid that. So when you get feedback, I always approach the staff in question, and I ask, so what happened? Tell me what's going on, all of that, just to hear their perspective. And once we have come to a common ground, I always ask, okay, what support do you need moving forward? Because I feel like there's always that gap in support. And you always have to look at yourself and say, what have I missed? Because if they're coming into work every day, just getting on with it, but they're not raising issues, and you don't know, of course, because they're not really approaching you, then you're not able to sort of spot that gap, I guess. Yeah. So for me, it would be transparency, trust, and communication with your staff. Yeah.
Wow, those are some really valid points, very important points. In this industry, the industry is all about those 3 things: trust, transparency, and communication. And I think especially what you said about a lot of people focus about trust and transparency when it comes to the client side or the client perspective. And they forget the very heart of what we're doing, which is our labor, our staff. And it'd be good to see that we implement those very things from both ends. So
True.
it's just very good to see your perspective. Yeah. Benjamin, what are your thoughts? What does respect mean in this industry for you?
Yes. When I hear the word respect, so I believe that entails recognizing the humanity and professional worth of every individual in every across all fields. So whether it's the cleaning operatives, whether it's your colleagues in the admin staff, whether it's the clients themselves, but particularly those that are on the front line, especially the cleaning operatives. So it means that as a manager or someone in an influential role, it's about creating an environment where people feel seen, they feel heard, they feel valued, they feel supported in every single way. Not only when challenges arise, but as part of your everyday operations. One of the things I feel very, very strong is always checking in on your staff, seeing that they're okay, seeing that things are happening, things are going good with them, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's about recognizing humanity. People can be going through things in their private life that you don't know. Someone's marriage could be breaking down, their kids could be suffering, they could be struggling with their education, so on and so forth, while they're also trying to balance their work life. And it's about creating that atmosphere, that workplace for them to understand that we care, they're supported in every single thing that they're doing. Also, showing respect itself is through having clear communication, creating fair processes as well, attention to their well-being, having attention to their well-being. One of the things that I'm really happy about this month is in where we are. We're about to do a mental health and well-being month, where we're focusing on the mental health of every single worker in the business. So checking on their well-being and understanding that leadership is not about bossing people around or throwing people around. It's actually about service. Leadership is about service to the people, serving the people, taking care of the people, making sure that they're okay, and it's ensuring that the dignity is preserved in how the work is organized and how people are treated consistently across the organization. So for me, that's what respect basically is.
Wow, those are like some extreme. Both of you have just some beautiful, valid points. You took all of my ideas. Now I've got to think. But yeah, those are all some, really, really valid points. And I think to add on to what you've said, it actually also goes beyond pay, the pay, the wages that everybody gets. And it includes a lot of dignity, including them in everything, steps that we take, thinking about them, and their voices. It also includes the importance of fair policies and consistent treatment. So yeah, it's really good to just see all of these perspectives, which are absolutely fantastic. When we look at the cleaning and FM sector, we see that a lot of our staff and the work that they do is often undervalued. So we'd like to get your perspective on this subject. Why do you think that the frontline roles, especially cleaning, security, and the like, are often undervalued? What are your thoughts? What do you know?
Oh, so I think, of course, it starts at home, right? If you don't study hard, you're just going to become a cleaner. If you don't do this, you're going to become a cleaner. But people don't really realize what that can lead to, right? Just like in any career or business, you start at the bottom, right? And you work your way up. So I think the issue is, to answer your question, it starts at home. It's still not a respected industry, I would say, both as a job and as a business. Even as a business, cleaning would probably get the smallest budgets, right? It would get the smallest budget. However, it's ironic because you walk into a building, right, or any business, and if the corridor hasn't been cleaned in one day, you would notice that. And that could lead to losing clients, that could lead to staff sickness because of allergies and whatnot. And, you know, I've gone to, several businesses where they say, yeah, you know, this is embarrassing. Clients come in and it's really embarrassing. We don't have time to do this. Of course, you don't have the time. And then you ask them, how much are you spending on cleaning? And they're like, £15 an hour. Well, of course, that's what you're going to get, right? So I feel from that perspective as well, it doesn't really get the respect it deserves because other professionals don't look at this industry as a real business that requires risk assessment, health and safety. We still have staff to pay, holiday pay, sick pay. You know, there's a whole operation, admin, all of that. It's still a business, and it's a very, very important business because, like I said, it's the first thing that everyone notices. I hope that answers your question.
Well, beautifully solved. Beautifully solved. I think you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. And I think the points that you've made are very valid. It does start at home.
Yeah.
A perspective that I think I haven't heard before. So when you said it, I suddenly realized, oh yeah, it's true. That's
Yeah.
what they say, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a good perspective to have, and it's true, you know. People, it starts at home. It's what we're told from the beginning, and so suddenly people begin to see the job as nothing. Whereas
Yeah.
mentioned here, if we don't do our job, places are not safe for a lot of people to work in. So we make a huge impact in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Benjamin, what do you have to say?
Yeah, actually, I feel like Padumo has really hit a lot of points on the head there. And, you know, one of the things that I see is that, you know, when a new manager comes in, the easiest contract to get rid of is the cleaning contract, or to change is the cleaning contract. Or, you know, when things are going fine, you know, all the cleaning is being done, there's not much appreciation in terms of, oh, the site looks very nice or very beautiful, it's being kept well. But once there's that slight little error, that slight little problem, the email comes in, or there's an issue, or something wrong goes. And I feel like she said there's a broader societal tendency to underestimate the work that is considered manual or routine. You see, so this work actually, even though people look at it as it actually takes a lot of skill, responsibility, and care. So, and you see that over time, when there's a lack of recognition as well from to the staff and the people who go in, you see that the confidence and the engagement is affected. It goes down. The quality is not really as good. The standards start to drop, and it doesn't only affect these individuals as well, but obviously the overall quality and stability of the service that is being delivered as well. And so I feel like they're undervalued because it seemed like just an easy, normal task. Yeah, anybody can go and clean, anybody can go and wipe a table, anybody can go. But it's not about, it's about the quality, and the quality that is being delivered, especially by some cleaners. You see that it takes a lot of hard work. It's not easy to bend down over every day and every night, bending down over, stretching your arms, you know, to make sure you get those tight areas, to make sure that you're getting those cobwebs, those little corners at the side, making sure that everything's sparkling, everything's good. And the problem is people just think it's easy. That's why I think, and people get these operatives and the jobs, it's really overlooked rather than appreciated. And it's a problem, I think, with just society and the way they think about how the job is, and it really needs to change, to be fair. But I think slowly it's getting better, but we'll get there.
Yeah, wow, those are valid points, Ben. And I couldn't agree with you less. Um, I think, as you've said, it's getting better, and one of the ways it could get better is if we could increase that interaction between key decision makers and the frontline staff. Because what I've come to realize is the key decision makers in these businesses, you know, usually don't have much relation with the frontline staff. So because of that, they don't really get to see our perspective to understand just how much work goes into it. But if we could just really bridge that gap so they can have a thorough understanding, oh, this is what training looks like. It's a proper academy, it's a proper school, it's a proper risk assessment. There is a guide. I think when people have that understanding, they can slowly start to take things and the things that we do, the work that we do, a lot more seriously.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, those are very valid points, guys.
Yeah. No, I would also say one thing I would like to add is just giving accountability to clients as well, right? Just drawing those lines, for example, just little things like leaving. For example, we had an issue previously with one of our clients where they used to always get these Amazon packages and parcels, huge office, and they would just leave them all over the office, right, all over the building, expecting obviously the cleaning operative to just pick it up. And obviously she mentioned that to me. She said, oh, it's actually taking extra time from important tasks. So that's the type of communication I mean. And then you have to take that to the manager, the office manager, and just say, hey, could you just improve this, please? Or just also give the cleaner a bit more responsibility and say, okay, hey, that's an issue. What do you think could improve this? Except me sending an email, what do you think could improve this? Oh, maybe I should just write a note to say, if recycling is not left in its proper place, it will not be taken. So things like that, just giving them, holding them accountable, right?
Yeah.
And not just letting them think, oh yeah, the cleaner will pick that up. It's okay. We can leave it all over the place, Don't worry about health and safety. So small things like that, right? Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. It's the little steps that make this change, isn't it?
Yeah, just setting those boundaries and being firm on them. For example, if you leave your dishes in the sink when not washing them, you will find them there the next morning without being difficult, right? But things like that, yeah.
Little steps. And I think just off of that line,
Yeah.
what would you say are the consequences when respect is lacking in these environments? Little things like that. And I like how you said it, because there is this tendency of people leaving dishes, leaving the place an absolute mess for the cleaners.
Yeah.
So, what do you think are the implications of disrespect in these environments?
I think the implication, of course, is just leaving everything everywhere, just having zero respect for your environment as an office worker, and then expecting the cleaning operative to just clean after you. And then the other implication, of course, is on the cleaning operative, low morale, low confidence, just them losing their time in doing important tasks, or if they just feel overwhelmed, they might just leave, find a job elsewhere, and a job that could be so enjoyable and just therapeutic could just become overwhelming for someone because of those actions. So I would say it has an effect on both. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
High morale is low morale is something that I've seen in a lot of staff when they feel disrespected. They're just not
Yeah.
motivated enough to do the space or do the job as
Mm.
they would have before. That's
Yeah.
everything changing because they finally see that they're not appreciated in this space. So
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
while we're at it, for everybody that's online, if you've got any comments, any questions, and if you just want to add on to the points that are being raised, feel free to drop them in the chat. Over to you, Benjamin. What are your thoughts on disrespect in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, when respect is absent, doesn't just pack, doesn't just impact both the human and operational. Uh, People, the staff, the operatives, they begin to disengage, and because they feel like their contribution is not valued or understood, this can change the quality, the way they do their work, the way they go about their task. And this actually leads to impact on the business, lower turnover from losing contracts, uh, lower morale from the staff. Standards are dropping everywhere, and there's inconsistency everywhere in the service delivery. So
Mm.
you see that your reviews and your ratings are up and down. So there's no way to determine whether this is a good company, this is a bad company. And from an operational and organizational perspective, it increases the risk of safety issues as well. Compliance failures, staff not doing what they need to do, staff becoming a bit more careless because they're disengaged, leaving naked wires probably around water, or causing trip hazards. you know, just look not being more thoughtful in everything that they do, and this obviously causes reputational damage as well to the business. So, more importantly, though, it creates an environment where people simply endure work. It's like they're just going to work just for the sake of it, rather than taking pride in actually what they're doing, which is a loss for both the company and the worker, because you want your staff to feel proud to actually work for you. You want your staff to feel proud to wear your uniform, to be part of the organization, and want to grow and want to be part. So this is very important, why there shouldn't be a lack of respect uh, anywhere within the organization, and it's so important
Yeah,
in everything, I feel.
wonderful. While we're on the subject of respect, there's a question in our LinkedIn that's popped up that I think is very interesting. So, for both of you, what would you say is the best way to handle your staff being disrespected by the client? How would you navigate that in your team? Faduma.
Wow. I mean, to me that's happened a few times, not a face-to-face disrespect, but like I mentioned, just leaving things all over the place and scattering everything all over the place. We've had um, a couple of incidents where, for example, plumbers have come into the site, you know, being careless, they've decided to use our rugs and mops and all of that, leaving them, very, very filthy, and leaving them in the middle of the toilets. Of course, the cleaner walks into it and it's like shocked, horrified, right? And things like that are not nice, right? So to me, it's like I said, accountability, just sending an email straightforward or jumping on the call and just explaining it very professionally, just saying, I'm sorry, the cleaner came into this, um, and they find it very disrespectful. I'm sure you can imagine it's not nice to walk into something like that. And could you please be mindful next time? And they've come back and just apologized and even said, you can charge extra this month. So I think the way I handle it is, of course, I listen to the cleaner. So I treat it like a two-way thing. Just like if a client came to me and said, this is not being cleaned properly or this has been missed, of course, I would approach the staff member and have a word with them and come up with a solution. So of course I would do exactly the same thing, approach the client as well. Yeah.
Wow, those are some very valid points, you know. And
Yeah.
I think one of the points that you've raised is very good, listening to both perspectives, you know,
Yeah.
and addressing the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Definitely.
these things go unsaid, you know, people move on and move on, and it just becomes this whole big issue. So
Yeah.
it's very valid.
Yeah.
Ben, what are your thoughts? How would you navigate, or how do you handle your staff if feel they're being disrespected by clients?
It's a tough one. First thing I have to say is you have to step in calmly and professionally. Of course, try and redirect the conversation towards what were the facts, and how can we solve this, make it clear, without escalating this, that disrespectful behavior is actually not acceptable as well. Like we take it serious, and we uh it can start with something like, let's keep this conversation professional so we can resolve this effectively. Acknowledge what has happened with the staff, see how it may affect them. uh, if they did maintain professionalism, thank them for maintaining their professionalism within the situation. Reassure them that the matter is serious and you're taking the matter very seriously. But you have to assess it as well and get all the facts first of all. And in the case where you did see where the client did that, you have to address it as soon as possible. Address it, but you have to be calm, be factual, and firm. Avoid blaming language, using blaming language. Um, Something like, the tone towards our team member was inappropriate. We expect respectful communication in all client interactions. So just try and set clear boundaries and expectations from both the client and both the staff. And if need be to escalate it further, then it needs to be escalated, but try and always keep the situation calm and collected and professional as possible, I would think.
I think those are very valid points. You know, being calm is one thing, and I think sometimes it's very difficult to stay calm. I'm still learning, even myself. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think those are some very, very valid points. On that note, thinking about it, what are some active steps that organizations, you know, yourself, others, I can imagine how many staff you have in Walkway, what are some active steps that you can take to build a culture of respect? What would you do?
Mm. The first thing that pops into my mind is referring to cleaning operatives by their names, right? So whether you're on the phone to a client or just emailing a client, I always refer to each and every cleaning operative by name rather than the cleaner. So then I notice that they do the same, right? Oh, such and such is coming in, such and such is doing this. So just the name, they're human beings. I think if, for example, feedback is given, how do you approach the staff member with that feedback? Do you use what kind of language do you use? How do you relay the information to them or the feedback to them? Transparency, making it clear to them, I would say that. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you.
Yes, we can. We lost you for a little bit, but we can hear you now. Hello, Faduma?
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear you guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, that's fine. We can.
Is everything all right? Yeah. Yeah, so I was just saying, I would say just make sure there's no hierarchy system within the team. Make sure that everyone is a team, whether you're a supervisor or a manager or the CEO of the company. We're just all one big team. If everyone has to chip in, then we'll just chip in. I think I think visibility is very important. Recognizing your staff, so that they have some things to look forward to. Making sure they are aware of opportunities. There's always opportunities for training, for development, and things like that. Yeah, there's so many things I can say, but I'll just keep it at that for now.
Yeah, those are like, yeah, that's wonderful. I think what you said is true. Ensuring that hierarchy is people understanding that there's that fairness in the team, no matter who you are,
Definitely, yeah,
that equality.
yeah.
That's something that's often missing in a lot of organizations. So
Mm,
it's good to hear that from you.
yeah, definitely.
Benjamin, what are your thoughts? What are some steps that we can take as an organization to build a culture of respect?
Yeah. So one of the main things I would say is firstly open communication, making sure that there's open line of communication for uh, the staff to trust the management, supervisors, just building a culture whereby everybody can talk to each other and have confidence to relate with each other. Um, Always follow through on commitments with your staff, building
Mm,
that trust, making sure that you don't lose the trust of them. Say things that you say you will do and then you don't do it. General recognition of their efforts. One of the things that I love that we do is that we give out a monthly Employee of the Month award, as well as Employee of the Year. We have some also bonuses that we regularly give out for recognition for quality of work. So uh, always making sure that their hard work and their effort doesn't just go unseen. Um, Respect grows when people know that their concerns will be taken seriously and their contributions are acknowledged. So every time, even when there's a concern, there's an issue, raising it up. So let's say a client is you have like instances whereby clients are the one that's supplying the consumables, the cleaning equipment, so on and so on. And when a staff raises an issue, it's like, look, I'm not getting what I need. I don't think this is here. I can't really do my job efficiently. Knowing that they can come to you and raise such an issue, and that they know that this will be solved, this will be handled, that what they're saying is not just going to fall on deaf ears, following through on everything that they request. Let them know that they're in a workplace whereby um, you can they can depend on you. Uh, One last thing I'll say is regular training. It's a way that you can help
mm,
them understand that you value their skills. You want to see them grow. You want to see them move forward. You don't just want to see them, be clean operatives. You want to see them move on to being a supervisor. You want to see them move on to being an operations executive or an operations assistant, operations manager, growing them, regular training, sending them to seminars or whatsoever if they request it. Seeing that, showing them that you value their personal growth as well. These are steps I think are very valid as well.
Wow, huge. I think, from you, Ben, especially your last point, is very interesting. Even we've seen in clean ethics the difference that regular training can make. Um,
mm.
just seeing people grow from one step to the next step. And I think it doesn't go unnoticed the impact of regular training. Valid point from you both. We've got a question in our chat, and the question says, "Hi for do more Hi Ben. Could you kindly shed more light on professional ways service providers can demand more accountability from clients? So, how can we, yourself as Mopway and as Kinetics, how can we demand more accountability from our clients?" I'll start with you for do.
Oh, more accountability. Um, For me, it would be just setting boundaries and expectations in the most professional way, because that's what everyone has, right? You come into a partnership and you have to look at it as a partnership, not just we're working for you, but really you have to work with us as well. So I would say the way I set accountability before things go wrong, or if they go wrong, as a preventative method, what I do is when we first get on board with a client, just a simple A4 document. For example, if dishes are left in the sink, they will not be washed. If things are scattered all over the office, they will not be picked up, and then just sort of outlining why, because it takes more time from important tasks. So just setting those standards in black and white so they're visible to the client, right? And that's just there. Maybe they can share that with their team, just some house rules. So the cleaning operative can do their job effectively. So that's what I always start with. Yeah. Just setting your expectations very clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you've said here is so important. That setting expectations is so important, especially in the nature of what we do.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
we're doing a contract cleaning, and all of a sudden they want us to do a deep cleaning every day. So
I've had that, yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
imagine the strain on our staff. So
Oh my goodness, yeah. In just 2 hours, right? Deep clean this huge office.
yeah. So it's good.
Yeah.
I think that point of setting expectations, making sure that the cleaning specification is black and white and it's clear for everybody. I think those are
Yeah.
yeah,
Because then they might have certain expectations and you have other expectations. And then when the cleaning operative has done their job properly, like they've been trained to, the manager will come back to you and say, "Oh, why is this and that being missed?" And you're like, "Oh," so that's where you have to take accountability as well, right? As a manager, and just say, "Oh, I missed that." So that's why I always say, make sure it's in black and white for the client to have a look at, because if they come back to you, you can always say, "Oh, but I sent you this document. Please refer to that." So yeah.
yeah, your points are very, very valid. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Benjamin, what do you
Yeah.
think and what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on this subject?
Personally, I think Fadomo has also hit the nail on the head here. And I think accountability starts with shared understanding. So clearly defining client responsibilities, what do you expect from them? What do they expect from us as well? Um, Also, I feel like building accountability into the commercial model. So money and scope create clarity where conversations fail. So charge for real work, cost by late and unclear. So basically, let me switch it to the point of when you have consistency in your standards. Yeah, so the fastest way to lose leverage is to enforce rules selectively. So applying the same standards across all your clients, and do not make exceptions repeatedly for clients. Follow through calmly and agree on consequences. So consistency builds respect even when the clients disagree. One thing that they can agree on is that you're consistent and that you always deliver on what you say. So one in my way, I think that through consistency, this can help. Just being a consistent person throughout your service can help.
Wow, wonderful. Those are some valid points as well from you, Ben. We're about rounding up now, but just before we close, we've got one last question from our YouTube. David would like to know, How do we better communicate our shared responsibility with clients to ensure smooth and effective cleaning operations? So, I think for Duma, you touched on the fact that it's got to be in black and white. But how do you effectively communicate that? Do you do that at the start of the contract? Do you do it throughout? Is it in your cleaning folder? Briefly.
I think as soon as you get on board with a new client, um, I mean, outside of the cleaning scope or the cleaning list that you have on site, and always make sure you share that with the office manager as well. Outside of that, of course, it's what we do and what we don't do. Because as a cleaning operative, there are some things that it depends what company you are, but there are certain things that we personally don't do. For example, pick up cups and dishes and cutlery from desks. We don't wash them. We might switch the dish. We will switch the dishwasher on as long as it's fully loaded. So those little things that can be miscommunicated or missed, we always make sure they're in black and white, and we not only share that with the office manager but also with the cleaning operative, so they can remind themselves of that. And that's also stuck at the back of the cleaning cupboard or storage. So it's just that black and white for everyone. Same for the supervisor; they should also be familiar with those kind of things. So it's just the tiny, small things. So they might say, "Oh, but our previous cleaners did that." You just say, "We don't do that." Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think of.
I think those are it's very important, isn't it? The difference that it makes, especially that awareness on where things are. Are they in the cleaning cupboard? Are they in the folder? So I think what you've said is so valuable.
Yeah, I would say definitely in the cleaning cupboard, in the folder, share an email with the office manager, make sure it's saved somewhere safe in your computers as well. So it's just everyone can have easy access to it, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Benjamin, from you, what are some ways
The
that
only thing I was the
yeah,
only thing I would say is I think is language is always very important when you're communicating, and in this case, always tie success of a contract or a collaboration to collaboration. So always tie the success to collaboration. So making them understand that it's not just us versus them, but it's both of us coming together. So understanding that it's a me and you situation. So always trying to use language that ties us. So something like if we both hit these dates, we'll stay on schedule. Help them understand that
Yeah.
it's not just me. But we need to do this together. We need to work together for this to work. And making them understand that it's a partnership, not like yes, they're clients to us, but then letting them know that we're in this together I think is always very important when it comes to communicating effective shared responsibility so that they would help you as well to be successful.
yeah.
I think it's important.
Wow. Wonderful. Well, it's been a lovely session. To round up, I'd like us to share in one sentence what respect at work means for all of us. For me, it means, as Budima said earlier, open communication, dignity, and ensuring that there is that equality in the place of work. What would it be for you in one sentence, Budima?
Oh, one sentence. That's really hard. Oh, I would say really treating your frontline workers as well as you treat your clients, right?
Wonderful.
So I always say you're the middle person. You have your clients here. Of course, you need your clients to keep your contracts and to keep people in work, but you also need your frontline workers to keep your contracts. So
Yeah.
they are the frontline workers are the experts. They, you know, they're the real reason why your company functions the way it does, because when you really think about it, sometimes we've got so many sites going on at the same time. And I just sit there sometimes and reflect, and I think I'm really grateful for my staff, you know.
Yeah.
They're out there in the middle of December at 8 p.m. doing a great job. So, yeah.
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 It doesn't go unnoticed what they do.
Yeah, definitely. So I would
Yeah.
say, of course, investing in your frontline workers. Yeah.
Yeah. Benjamin, from you, one sentence. What does respect in
Yeah,
the
I
work?
think respect. I think means just contribution matters. Making sure people understand their contribution matters, and that they're treated with dignity, fairness, and understanding as a whole person. So making sure that people are respected and they're cared for, they're loved, understanding that they matter and what they do matters to us. So really, really, I think that's what respect all boils down to.
Wow, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Well, that sums it up. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this webinar has been helpful to not only ourselves but also those online. We would be able to share, some resources in regards to respect in the workplace, which will be coming out in the next couple of days. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone online as well. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.